The cardboard beneath Sofia Martinez had grown soft from the morning dew seeping through the concrete. She pulled the threadbare blanket tighter around her shoulders, trying to ignore the rumble of traffic overhead on the Riverside Bridge. 5 months of sleeping in this forgotten corner had taught her which sounds meant danger and which meant another day. Beginning in the city that had once been her home, Marcus Sterling checked his expensive smartwatch as he jogged along the river path. The sunrise painted the water gold, and he needed to finish his run before his first board meeting at 8. As CEO of Sterling Technologies, he'd built his life around precision and control. Every minute planned, every decision calculated. But this morning, something made him slow down. A flash of movement beneath the bridge caught his eye. It's not unusual in this part of the city, but something about the small figure trying to fold a blanket with shaking hands made him stop. The woman looked up, and their eyes met across 20 feet of dewy grass. Sofia froze. In 5 months, she'd perfected the art of invisibility. Don't make eye contact. Don't draw attention. Anyone a reason to call the police? But this man in his designer running gear had already seen her, and now he was walking closer. "I'm not causing trouble," she said quickly, gathering her few possessions. "I'll move along." Marcus raised his hands peacefully. "No, please. I didn't mean to startle you." He noticed how her brown hair, though tangled, still held hints of its former shine. Her eyes, green and intelligent despite the exhaustion, reminded him of someone he couldn't quite place. "Are you hungry?" The words surprised him as much as they seemed to surprise her. Sofia's pride warred with the empty ache in her stomach. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. "I don't need charity. It's not charity. It's breakfast. There's a diner 2 blocks from here." Marcus pulled out his phone. "I'm canceling my morning meeting anyway." "Why would you do that?" Suspicion crept into her voice. Their experience. Wealthy men didn't offer help without expecting something in return. Marcus considered the question. Why was he doing this? Something about this woman felt different from the usual homeless encounters that he, like most people, typically hurried past. "Because," he said finally, "everyone deserves to be seen." The words hung between them in the morning air. Sofia's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. When was the last time someone had really seen her? Not the homeless woman, not the burden on society, but her? "One breakfast," she said quietly. "But I pay you back someday." Marcus smiled, and it transformed his usually serious face. "Deal. I'm Marcus, by the way. You're Sofia." She stood slowly, dignity in every movement despite her circumstances, as they walked toward the diner. Neither knew that this chance encounter would change everything. That sometimes salvation comes not from grand gestures, but from simple moments when one human being decides to truly see another. The cardboard beneath Sofia Martinez had grown soft from the morning dew seeping through the concrete. She pulled the threadbare blanket tighter around her shoulders, trying to ignore the rumble of traffic overhead on the Riverside Bridge. 5 months of sleeping in this forgotten corner had taught her which sounds meant danger and which meant another day. Beginning in the city that had once been her home, Marcus Sterling checked his expensive smartwatch as he jogged along the river path. The sunrise painted the water gold, and he needed to finish his run before his first board meeting at 8. As CEO of Sterling Technologies, he'd built his life around precision and control. Every minute planned, every decision calculated. But this morning, something made him slow down. A flash of movement beneath the bridge caught his eye. Not unusual in this part of the city, but something about the small figure trying to fold a blanket with shaking hands made him stop. The woman looked up, and their eyes met across 20 feet of dewy grass. Sofia froze. In 5 months, she'd perfected the art of invisibility. Don't make eye contact. Don't draw attention. Don't give anyone a reason to call the police. But this man in his designer running gear had already seen her, and now he was walking closer. "I'm not causing trouble," she said quickly, gathering her few possessions. "I'll move along." Marcus raised his hands peacefully. "No, please. I didn't mean to startle you." He noticed how her brown hair, though tangled, still held hints of its former shine. Her eyes, green and intelligent despite the exhaustion, reminded him of someone he couldn't quite place. "Are you hungry?" The words surprised him as much as they seemed to surprise her. Sophia's pride warred with the empty ache in her stomach. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. I don't need charity. It's not charity. It's breakfast. There's a diner 2 blocks from here. Marcus pulled out his phone. I'm canceling my morning meeting anyway. Would you do that? Suspicion crept into her voice. In her experience, wealthy men didn't offer help without expecting something in return. Marcus considered the question. Why was he doing this? Something about this woman felt different from the usual homeless encounters that he, like most people, typically hurried past. Because, he said finally, everyone deserves to be seen. The words hung between them in the morning air. Sophia's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. When was the last time someone had really seen her? Not the homeless woman, not the burden on society, but her? One breakfast, she said quietly. But I pay you back someday. Marcus smiled, and it transformed his usually serious face. Deal. I'm Marcus, by the way. Sophia. She stood slowly, dignity in every movement despite her circumstances, as they walked toward the diner. Neither knew that this chance encounter would change everything, that sometimes salvation comes not from grand gestures, but from simple moments when one human being decides to truly see another. 2 weeks passed before Sophia stood outside the gleaming Sterling Technologies building, Marcus's business card worn soft from handling. She'd spent days arguing with herself, pride battling necessity. But the October cold had finally won. Marcus's assistant, Janet, greeted her warmly, as if disheveled women appeared in the executive lobby every day. "Oh, Mr. Sterling said you might come by. He's in a meeting, but he asked me to show you around if you arrived." The wellness center occupied the entire 3rd floor. Sophia's breath caught as Janet led her through state-of-the-art facilities, examination rooms, a meditation space, exercise equipment, and a teaching classroom. Everything she'd dreamed of having when she'd worked at the understaffed, under-equipped hospital. The position involves creating health education programs, basic health screenings, and coordinating with our insurance providers, Janet explained. The last person quit because they found it boring. Sophia wanted to laugh. After months of survival mode, boring sounded like paradise. Marcus appeared in the doorway, his face lighting up when he saw her. "Sophia, you came." "I'm just looking," she said quickly, though they both knew that wasn't true. "Of course. Janet, could you give us a moment?" When they were alone, Marcus gestured to the space. "What do you think?" "It's incredible, but I'm not ready for this. Look at me." She gestured to her layers of mismatched clothing. "Can't work here looking like this. And I don't have credentials with me or references who won't ask questions about where I've been." "All solvable problems," Marcus said. "There's a temporary apartment on the 10th floor. It's basic but clean. You could stay there while you get settled. As for clothes, there's a corporate account at the department store downstairs. And I don't need references. I need someone who understands what it means to struggle with health issues." Sophia turned away, overwhelmed. Through the window, she could see the river, and in the distance, the bridge where she'd been sleeping. "This feels too fast, too much like a fairy tale." "Or maybe," Marcus said softly. "It feels like exactly what should happen when people help each other." Something in his voice made her turn back. He was standing closer now, and she could see the sincerity in his eyes. But there was something else there too, something that made her heart beat faster. "There's one condition," she said. "This is strictly professional. I won't be anybody's charity case or anything else," agreed Marcus said, though something flickered across his face. "Strictly professional." 3 days later, Sophia moved into the corporate apartment. It was small, just a studio with basic furniture, but it had a door that locked and a shower with hot water. She stood under the spray for nearly an hour that first night, washing away months of grime and fear. The next morning, dressed in simple but professional clothes, she barely recognized herself in the mirror. The woman looking back still had hollow cheeks and weary eyes. But there was something else there now. Purpose. Her first week was challenging. Other employees were polite but curious. Word had somehow spread about where Marcus had found her, and she caught whispers in the break room. But when she led her first wellness seminar on stress management, drawing from both her nursing experience and her recent survival skills, the room was riveted. Ms. Martinez really knows her stuff. She overheard one employee tell another, "Did you hear what she said about breathing techniques? I tried it during my presentation and it actually worked." Marcus kept his distance as promised, but she felt his presence in small ways. Her favorite tea stocked in the wellness center kitchen. A note from HR fast-tracking her licensing renewal. A bookshelf that appeared one day filled with the latest medical journals. One evening, working late to prepare a diabetes education program, she found him standing in her doorway. "You should go home," he said. "It's past 8. "Pot, meat, kettle," she replied, noting his own laptop bag. "Besides, this is important. Did you know 30% of your employees are pre-diabetic?" His face darkened. "No, I didn't." "We can change that. Prevention programs, better cafeteria. Options, glucose monitoring." She stopped, seeing pain in his expression. "I'm sorry. Janet mentioned your sister. I should have been more sensitive." "Don't apologize for caring," he said roughly. "It's why I hired you. Well, one of the reasons." The air between them grew charged. Sophia stood, needing distance. "I should go." Sophia. Her name on his lips stopped her. "I'm proud of what you're building here. The employees love you. You're making a real difference. It's just a job," she said, but her voice betrayed her. It was so much more. It was redemption. It was purpose. It was a second chance she'd never expected. "Is it?" he asked quietly. She met his eyes, and for a moment all their careful boundaries wavered. Then she grabbed her bag and fled, her heart pounding in the elevator. She pressed her forehead against the cool metal wall. She'd promised herself this would stay professional. But every day, it grew harder to ignore the way Marcus looked at her, the way her pulse quickened when he was near. She was walking a dangerous line between gratitude and something deeper, something that terrified her more than any night under the bridge ever had. The email arrived on a Tuesday morning in November. Sophia stared at the screen, her coffee growing cold in her hands. Emma's doctor in Oregon was requesting a consultation about new treatment options. Her daughter, now 13, was showing signs of relapse. "Everything okay?" Marcus stood in her office doorway, concern creasing his features. "My daughter," the words came out strangled. "She might be getting sick again." Without hesitation, Marcus entered and closed the door behind him. "What do you need?" "I need to go to Oregon." "But I just started here and I can't afford," she stopped, overwhelmed by the familiar panic of medical crisis meeting financial reality. "You have paid leave for family emergencies," Marcus said firmly, "and the company covers travel expenses. For medical situations, when do you need to leave?" "Can't just make up policies," Sophia protested. "I'm the CEO. I can do exactly that." He pulled out his phone. "Janet, please book Ms. Martinez on the next flight to Portland." Open-ended. Return. Sophia's walls finally crumbled. She buried her face in her hands and sobbed for her daughter. For the months of separation, for the kindness of this man who kept saving her, Marcus knelt beside her chair, and she found herself falling into his arms. He held her carefully, as if she might break or flee. "I'm scared," she whispered against his shoulder. "What if I lose her? What if I can't afford whatever she needs? What if—" "Stop." His voice was gentle, but firm. "One step at a time. Go see Emma. Everything else can wait." She pulled back, wiping her eyes. "Why do you keep helping me?" "Da." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then, still kneeling, he reached into his desk drawer and pulled out a worn photograph. A young woman smiled from the picture, her resemblance to Marcus unmistakable. "This is Christina," he said, "my sister. She was 22 when she died. Diabetic ketoacidosis. Completely preventable if we'd had insulin. I was working construction during the day, driving rideshare at night, but it wasn't enough. The day she died, I promised her I'd find a way to help others avoid our fate." Sophia touched the photo gently. "She's beautiful. You remind me of her, not physically, but your spirit. The way you care for others, even when you're struggling. Yourself. The way you light up when you talk about helping people. He met her eyes. I didn't expect to feel ... what I feel. But Sophia, you've brought something back to life in me that I thought died with Christina. Marcus, she breathed. Go to Emma, he said, standing and helping her up. When you come back, we'll talk about us, about whatever this is becoming. But right now, your daughter needs you. At the airport, Sophia found first-class tickets waiting. She wanted to protest, but was too emotionally exhausted. The flight passed in a blur of memories. Emma as a baby, as a giggling toddler, as a brave little girl facing treatments that would break adults. Her sister Maria met her at the airport. She's stable were her first words. The doctors called. It early this time, at the hospital, Emma looked small in the bed, but smiled brilliantly when Sophia entered. Mom, Aunt Maria said you couldn't come, but I knew you would. Always, baby. Always. They talked for hours. Emma, wise beyond her years, asked careful questions about where Sophia had been. Aunt Maria said you were sick too, but a different kind of sick. I was lost for a while, Sophia admitted, but I'm finding my way back, 'cause of the man who calls sometimes? Marcus? Sophia's eyes widened. Maria shrugged apologetically. He's been checking on Emma through me, helped with some of the medical bills. I thought you knew. That night, in her sister's guest room, Sophia called Marcus. You've been helping with Emma's treatment? You would have refused if I'd told you, he said simply. I can't ever repay. I don't want repayment. I want you to stop seeing this as a transaction. People who care about each other help each other. That's how it works. Is that what we are? People who care about each other? A pause. You know we're more than that. Sophia closed her eyes. I'm terrified, Marcus. I've lost everything once. I can't survive losing it again. Then we'll build. Something that lasts, he said. Something strong enough to weather whatever comes. Sophia, you have to stop running from happiness because you're afraid it'll disappear. What if Emma needs ongoing treatment? What if I have to choose again between work and her health, and we figure it out together? You're not alone anymore. Not unless you choose to be. After they hung up, Sophia sat in the darkness, processing everything. For months, she'd survived by expecting nothing, hoping for nothing beyond the next meal or safe place to sleep. But Marcus was offering more than help. He was offering partnership, love, a future she'd thought was lost forever. The next morning, Emma's test results showed the relapse was minor, caught early thanks to vigilant monitoring. With adjusted medication, she could stay stable. The relief was overwhelming. Can I come home with you? Emma asked as Sophia prepared to leave. I miss you so much. Sophia looked at her sister, who nodded. If you're really stable now, if you have a real home. I do, Sophia said, realizing it was true. I have a job, an apartment, and ... double quotes. She smiled. And someone who cares about us both. Then yes, Maria said. It's time for Emma to be with her mother again. On the flight back, Emma peppered her with questions about her new life. When Sophia mentioned the wellness center, Emma's eyes lit up. Can I help sometimes? I know a lot about being sick. Maybe I could talk to other kids who were scared. Sophia hugged her daughter tightly. Even after everything, Emma's first instinct was to help others. I think that's a beautiful idea. As they descended into the city, Sophia saw the Sterling Technologies building rising from downtown. Somewhere in that tower, Marcus was waiting. Her past and future were about to collide, and for the first time in over a year, she wasn't afraid. She was ready. Marcus paced the wellness center, checking his watch every few minutes. Sophia had texted that she was on her way up with Emma. He'd prepared everything arranged for Emma to join the company's dependent healthcare plan. Set up a larger apartment on the 12th floor, even stocked it with groceries, and the books Sophia mentioned Emma loved. The elevator dinged, and his heart stopped. Sophia emerged, looking radiant despite her exhaustion. Beside her stood a thin teenager with Sophia's eyes and a shy smile. Emma, this is Marcus Sterling, Sophia said. Marcus, my daughter Emma. Emma stepped forward with surprising confidence. Thank you for helping my mom, and for helping me too. Mom told me everything on the plane. Marcus knelt to her eye level, remembering how his sister had hated when adults talked down to her during treatments. "It's nice to finally meet you, Emma. Your mom talks about you constantly. Good things, I hope?" Emma grinned, and Marcus saw Sophia's spirit shining through. "The best things. Would you like to see the wellness center? Your mom's built something amazing here." As they toured the facilities, Emma asked intelligent questions about the equipment and programs. When they reached the teaching classroom, her eyes widened. "Mom, you could run support groups here, for families dealing with chronic illness, not just the patients, but parents and siblings too." Sophia and Marcus exchanged glances. "That's brilliant," Marcus said. "We should absolutely do that." Sophia asked softly, "If you'll have me as a partner in this." His eyes held hers. "In all of it." Emma looked between them with 13-year-old wisdom. "Okay, I'm going to go check out the meditation room while you two have your moment." After she left, Sophia laughed shakily. "She's too smart for her own good." Like her mother, Marcus stepped closer. "Sophia, I need to say something. These past months, watching you rebuild, seeing your strength and compassion, I've fallen completely in love with you. Not because you needed saving, but because you never really did. You just needed a chance." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "I love you too." "But Marcus, I come with complications." "Emma's health?" "My past, I come with complications too," he interrupted. "A workaholic tendency, trust issues from past relationships, and an inability to cook anything besides cereal. We're all complicated. That's what makes us human." She laughed through her tears. "Cereals, an important food group. See? We're perfect for each other." He cupped her face gently. "Sophia, I don't want to save you. I want to stand beside you. Build something meaningful together. Love Emma like the remarkable young woman she is. Create the family I thought I'd never have." "You already are family," Emma said from the doorway, looking unrepentant about eavesdropping. "Mom smiles when she talks about you. Real smiles, not the fake ones she used to do. And you helped us when no one else would. It makes you family in my book." Marcus looked at Sophia, who was crying openly now. Out of the mouths of babes, she whispered, "Is that a yes?" "To what?" "You haven't actually asked anything specific," Emma pointed out helpfully. Marcus laughed. "You're right," he took Sophia's hands. "Sophia Martinez, will you and Emma move into a real home with me? Will you help me build a healthcare foundation for families in crisis? Will you let me love you both for as long as you'll have me?" "Yes," Sophia said simply. "To all of it." Emma cheered and hugged them both. "Does this mean I get to help with the foundation? Because I have ideas?" "Of course you do," Marcus said, ruffling her hair.
Why do I feel like I'm outnumbered?"
"Already?" "Because you are," both Martinez women said in unison, then burst out laughing. 6 months later, the Sterling Martinez Family Health Foundation hosted its first fundraising gala. Sophia stood at the podium, elegant in a midnight blue gown, addressing a room full of Portland's elite. "8 months ago, I was sleeping under the Riverside Bridge," she began, her voice strong and clear. "Not because I was lazy or worthless, but because our healthcare system failed my family. Today, I stand before you as the co-director of a foundation that will ensure no family has to choose between medical care and survival." She found Marcus in the crowd, his eyes shining with pride. Emma sat beside him, healthy and vibrant, wearing the purple dress they'd picked out together. "This foundation isn't just about money," Sophia continued. "It's about seeing people, really seeing them. It's about understanding that any of us could be one medical crisis away from catastrophe. It's about building bridge. It's not the kind people sleep under, but the kind that connect us to each other." The applause was thunderous. As she left the stage, Marcus caught her in his arms. "Have I told you today that I love you?" he murmured. "Only about 12 times," Emma said, appearing beside them. "But who's counting?" "You are, apparently," Marcus said, pulling her into their embrace. Later, as the gala wound down, the three of them stood on the terrace overlooking the river. In the distance, the Riverside Bridge glowed with streetlights. "I sometimes can't believe this is real," Sophia said softly. Marcus kissed her temple. "Believe it. We've all worked too hard for this happiness. To doubt it now. It's the best part," Emma said, leaning against her mother. is that we're just getting started. Think of all the families we're going to help, all the lives we're going to change. Sophia looked at her daughter, wise beyond her years, and the man who'd seen past her circumstances to her soul. We've already changed each other's. Everything else is just paying it forward. As fireworks lit up the sky, Portland, celebrating. Some festival or another, the Sterling Martinez family held each other close. They'd each traveled difficult roads to reach this moment. But sometimes, the most beautiful destinations come from the most unexpected journeys. And sometimes love finds you when you're sleeping under a bridge, waiting for someone to simply see you for who you really are. Together, they watched the city lights dance on the water, three souls who'd found their way home to each other. The foundation was just beginning, but their family born of struggle, built on compassion, and bound by love was already complete. In the distance, the Riverside Bridge stood steady and strong, no longer a place of sorrow, but a reminder that even in our darkest moments, hope can appear in the most unexpected forms. Sometimes wearing running shoes, sometimes wearing love, always wearing grace.